Huge blunder.
Wow.
Blunder alert.
The winner of this game wins the entire Superbet Classic Chess event, and it did not disappoint. We've got Fabiano Caruana with the white pieces, Alireza Firouzja with black. What a fight between these players. It's got everything. C4 played on the board, opening move. This is a classical time control, an English opening essayed by the American against the Frenchman in Romania. Alireza goes for a Sicilian with colours reversed. We get D3, Alireza developing with a whoosh, gives that king a tickle, knight D2 blocking, and now C5. There's a weird looking move. Leaves a hole on D5 but gains space. Clamps on D4, and after knight F3, Fabi develops both his horses into the games, gives a whinny, stamps his feet. He's just had new horseshoes fitted. He's looking very dapper. Alireza goes knight C6. He's eyeing up this D4 square. We get G3, Fabi building the banana hammock. D6, camel toe pawn formation from Ali. They're fighting against each other. Pawn formation, fight off. And now we get the bishop, Fee and Cheetoing into the game. Hits the long diagonal. All four horsemen of the apocalypse gallop forward. Castle's played and bishop A5. Voluntarily getting out of dodge there. Looking to remaneuver into a different position. And B3 cowboy. Fabiano. Is he going to Fee and Keto the rook? One day, maybe, one of the top guys will do it for me. We get castles played. Both players give each other a fist bump, explode it out. That's what the top guys do when they get the kings to safety. And now the bishop hits the long diagonal. Sanity prevailing. The bishop's crossing swords. H6, because obviously bro, and E3, covering this D4 square. Bishop E6. Alireza got all his bits out now, fighting for that hole, and we see D4 played here. Explosive move in the center, threatening to win a piece, so we see takes. Everything goes into the blender here. Mass liquidation. That pawn on D6 crying a little bit. So what does Alireza do? He liberates it at once with a yippee. Bishop C5, apparently a strong move. But instead we see captures on D5. Bishop takes back. We've got ourselves a Mexican standoff between those bishops. The computer likes Queen G4 or Knight C4 here, but we don't see it played. Knight E4 instead, and it's provocative. F5, a strong move, but Alireza hesitant to lift the king's kilt. Instead he plays a second move, which looks so natural. Knight C6, and it's actually a massive blunder.
Huge blunder.
Wow.
Blunder alert.
How's your puzzle rush? Faustino Oro, youngest ever international master right now. He's done about 13,000 puzzles on chess.com. Absolute madness. No wonder he's so overpowered. You gotta know your tactics. Fabi finds this move. Very well done if you saw. Bishop to F6. What a move. Fabi plays it, then pulls a kind of Derek Zoolander face. Alireza taps the table, kind of like they do in snooker, for a good move, but he's not doing it for the move. He's doing it for the pose. Very impressive. Now, why does it work? Well, we're not going to explore captures because it was played in the game. What if you just move your queen here and stay defending the bishop, which is attacked by the queen? Well, then you run into knight c5, and it's getting really hard to stay with the bishop, which is now attacked twice since you opened up the double attack. Queen d6, fine, but then you can get a line like this. If you go for this line of takes on f6, you go to Forktown here, and if you swap the queens, then this is how the line can go. You lose a pawn, 2 minor pieces attacked, is perilous. So we come back here. Those are the tactical problems with things like Queen d7. So instead we see taking of the bishop, and now the second brilliancy comes on the board. This one a bit easier to find. The move played is queen takes on d5. Now if you capture, this is the problem. You can't get out the forking way. You're running into this one. Queen drops, you've won a clean pawn, and what a minor piece in the center of the board. So instead, Alireza plays queen e7, but it's not actually best. He should have swapped those queens off the board because his king's ripped open. Fabi's so active. I mean, that's a white widow, centralized spider. And now you can start with queen f5, queen h5, attacking. But we see rook ac1. It's a nasty threat. Just take the knight with the rook, then pick up the bishop on a5 with the queen. Computer's top choice, queen e5 to fight against it. Who plays that when they've just refused the queen trade? Or you can go bishop b6. Alireza does neither. He centralizes the cannon, but he pushes Fabi's queen into the kingside attack. The pawn under fire. Alireza defends his double f's, and now you can play the tactic. The rook slams down here on c6, given an exchange. Fabi whispers, keep the change. Pawn recaptures, and now this bishop drops off the board. And not only is Alireza's pawn structure mangled, but he's also got the two minor pieces for the rook, and that should be superior. Should be. Time is ticking, and Alireza is a tricky guy. So we see the move of rook d5. Queen hit. Alireza doing a poker face, but Fabi spots it. Retreats to c3, eyeing c6 and the king, but Alireza doesn't defend this pawn here. He goes this rook to the centre of the board, doubling, saying please take my c-ship's pawn, but Fabi doesn't do it. Why take it? It's weak anyway. Instead he plays a great move, improving his pieces. Pawn to g4. Where's that coming from? I'd never play that in a million years. I'd try and keep my king a bit safe and look to improve some other piece, maybe the rook or something. This is actually a great idea because the knight can come here and into here. So Alireza's got to fight against it. He decides it's time to go queen e5. Offer the queen trade. You can take the c pawn, but it wasn't played. We see captures on e5. Fabi just wanting to get those queens off, use his light squared grip, and now we see bishop f3. Rook a5, going after the a2 pawn. You can go a4 here, legit, different game, but it wasn't played. We see rook c1, this pawn drops, this pawn drops, but hang on, rook b2, how are you defending that one? You can go rook c3, gets a tiny bit passive, the second rook can come, but definitely playable, but Fabi doesn't do it. He goes king g2, this pawn drops, and Alireza out of nowhere has got a passed a pawn here. This gets exciting. Knight g3 on the board, clearly headed for the h1 square, lovely manoeuvre. We see rook b6, trying to get this pair off the board. Here Fabi refuses, goes to the 7th rank, and now a6 played to save that pawn. And this is now quite shocking. Everyone in the chess world is looking at the knight on g3 and expecting knight h1, but it jumps into f5. What a move. We were all thinking it's going to maneuver all over the place, some kind of journey like this, very standard idea in these kind of structures, then head into h5, but we didn't see it. It lands immediately on f5, king f8, and everyone suddenly realizes, great move, great square. We see rook a7. Look at the activity of Fabi's pieces. Rook f6 now played. We see bishop e4. Love the barrier on the d file that those minor pieces create together. Rook g6 therefore, hitting the g pawn, covered by the king, breaking the pin. Rook b6 back, Alireza thrashing. Is he going to check from b3? Now we see h4, king e8 and h5. Love what Fabi's doing here. Rook d7 played. Obviously you don't want to trade your active rook there. Therefore we see a check. Don't let those ones leave the board. Okay, the rooks leave the board. What do I know? But just kidding. It's actually a good move because the king is way offside. You don't even need VAR to see that. Long way off the kingside action. Alireza doesn't take there, by the way, or this one running fast. So he brings in the king. The knight captures. King marches in, and now a weird kind of Fabi move. What should he do? Bring the knight back, unleash the h-pawn, but he doesn't do it. He checks, the king goes, and somehow he rearranges his pieces, but not in the right manner. We get a5, red carpet rolled out. h6 from Fabi, much shorter red carpet. a4, h7, Alireza shuts the door on that, and now the best way to play is the cool and calm takes on e5. Fabi had to go cool hand Luke, note that this bishop's covering, just slow play it. But he plays knight f6, and look at Stockfish, absolutely poop its pants. And it's not for the first time either. This game swings all over the place. There's a threat to go knight g8, check, then make a queen. So that's why Alireza has one move and one move only to rule them all, and it's rook h8 here. Therefore, you're still stopping this pawn, even after the knight check. So Fabi drops back with the bishop. We get a3 played, king e4 marching in, but here Alireza doesn't cover the pawn. He has to bring back the king. Swap jobs with the rook, allow it to free itself. King takes on e5. Now king g7, check, the pawn on h7 can't be taken, bishop covers, so the king stumbling back, and how many of us are playing king f6? Looks so natural, but bang, you're running into a tactic. Bishop takes and the a-pawn's running, that's going to be a baby girl. This is the problem. So the knight comes back to double protect the pawn, don't overload the bishop. Now we see king g7. Is Fabi going to repeat? No, of course not. He wants to win. Goes bishop a2. Rook b8 now, hitting the game once more. We get f4 on the board. Rook b5 check, apparently the best move. Never actually looked into this one, why it's no good. Okay, bishop takes on f7. Similar to the game, if you take, pawns running through. This is the problem. So instead, we see rook c8 here, not precise. Apparently the check was best. But okay, we need to ignore stock squid. These are human players, they're low on time. We now see king d4. Again, stock squid just has a meltdown. Rook c2 played though, hits that bishop on a2. It takes on f7, trying to overload the king. Obviously if takes, we make the bishop. Just kidding, we make the queen. And a2 now forces Alireza to come all the way back. The bishop saving Fabi, rook recaptures, and this king marches in. What a fascinating endgame position. Given a draw by the engine, but this is human chess. The king marches here, the rook staying active. Now king h5, rook c6, f5 gets the pawn armada rumbling, and after rook a6, there's this amazing win here, which I'm going to show in a moment. Fabi misses it, goes king g4, rook c6, and now let's show the idea, because there's this winning move, really is awesome. Pause if you want to try and find it, test your tactical skills, not easy. The move to play is pawn g6. Now, if king takes, this is very understandable. Then the queen is made after you push the pawn. But what about if rook takes? Now, how is this working out? Well, king g5 is the move. Now you're threatening to queen, take the rook. And if the rook moves away, let's say like this, then you push with check. And this is the problem. Everything gets overloaded. Rook takes, then you make the queen, now you win the rook. And this is actually going to be winning. Whose move is it? It's black's, yep, and here we go. That makes a queen. Similar lines like that, but that is the general idea. Very, very cool. But okay, missed, low on time. King f4 played. Fabi decides he's off to the beach with the king. The rook waits. This is the line. The king gets driven all the way in. Fabi reaches the water's edge and then decides to just dip his toe. It's too cold for him. He heads all the way back to the safety of the deck chairs, reaches the beach once more. Alireza staying active, king marching in, rook c6. Can progress be made? Ignore the bar, it's the g6 move again. King h5 played, Stockwell having none of it, completely fed up with these two patzers. Rook a6 back on the board, and now Fabi, his move, g6 still good, but he finds another one. A good move, a winning move, knight to d7. He lets this pawn go, sacrifices it for the sake of the overall army. Because never play f6 unless it's rumbling through to a queen. How do you stop that one? If you march back with the king, let's say, well then the second pawn starts rolling. This is the problem. This is covered by the knight, of course. So what to do? Alireza goes here on seconds, pinning the g-pawn, but this one now marches. King here, no good. You make the queen, supported by the knight. Rook f5 was tried, but the queen was made anyway. However, there's one last twist, one last trick, a bit Eric Rosen-esque. Alireza plays, rook takes on g5. Stalemate trap. If you capture, bang, the king is stalemated. That's a draw. So of course not played. The king moves. Alireza tries it again. The king moves. He could try it one more time, but here's the problem. The king's going to go to f4 and you're all out of tricks. If you go here, you can take with check. If you go here, then you can take like this. King's got a square, no stalemate, that's game over. This the final position, and Fabiano went on to win all 3 of his tie-break games despite losing to Anish in the day. He takes the overall tournament. Congrats to him. Hope you enjoyed this one. Smash subscribe if you did, and check out the video on screen for another epic game of chess. Cheers.